Hi, this is David Parra with AARP Arizona, and we are here once more with a conversation with future beneficiaries of Social Security. Just recently, the Social Security Board of Trustees released their annual report, and there's just a lot there that we would like to put in context. We do have a couple of young ladies who are going to help us with this conversation. I am very thankful to them. Before we get to them, I would like to actually let me do that first. Let me introduce you to Sonia. She is from Phoenix, and she's a Gen X. Hi, Sonia. Thank you for joining.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Yes. And we have Teresa also from Phoenix. And you, wow, you're a Gen X and you are a Gen Y. Thank you, Teresa, for joining our show.
Of course, thank you for having us.
And this is very important because though AARP is known for reaching out to the 50 plus, right? We really were endeavoring to reach a younger audience. This is because Social Security is such an important program. And in reality, is if something was to happen to the program, which we don't think it's going to, it would actually affect more the younger generations than current beneficiaries. So it's very important that your generation gets involved. So the dynamic of this show is it's a conversation, right? So we're going to have a conversation with you. It's over 14 questions, and it'll go fast. Believe me, it will go. Before we get to that point, though, I would like to share some information, and I just mentioned that the Social Security Trust Fund just released their report, and it's interesting because Social Security has the funding to pay 100% of benefits until year 2033. That's the projection in the report of the Board of Trustees. And after 20 or starting in 2034, it will only be able to pay 76% of benefits. That is not acceptable. And that's why I'm very thankful that you are, part of this discussion and hopefully the debate so that we can, join forces to press it up, to stress it upon Congress that they need to pay attention to the program because we don't want this to become an emergency in the next few years. In terms of Medicare, believe it or not, especially the Part D trust fund is supposed to be able to pay benefits until 2026. That's very, very few years from now. At that time, it would only have sufficient funding to pay 91% of total scheduled benefits. So this is something that many people might not be paying attention to, but we feel it is very, very important. And again, I want to thank you both, Sonia and Teresa, for joining our show. And here we go. Are you ready for some questions?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I told you that these questions would not require a lot of preparation, so I think you will agree once we go through them. So the first question is very general. On a scale of 1 to 10, how familiar are you with Social Security benefits, eligibility, how and when to apply for benefits? Let's start with you, Sonia. What number would you give yourself?
I think I would give myself a 4. I'm
A
not
4.
too knowledgeable of Social Security.
Okay. How about you, Teresa?
I was going to say 3.
A 3.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Not bad. I mean, trust me that I do a lot of communications and sharing on this topic, and it's not surprising. A lot of people basically have heard a lot about Social Security, but they haven't really gotten into it. And hopefully, this will be a starting point for both of you because I mean, we owe it to ourselves and to our family members, to be better informed about these important programs. Let's go to question number 2. Do you know how the Social Security program is funded? Let's start with you, Teresa. Do you know how it's funded?
Yes, by pre-tax we pay for it from our wages. It's pre-tax.
Okay. And how about you, Sonia? What would you say?
The same. It's taken away from our pay stubs or our paychecks that we do.
Okay, so at the very least, you are very clear that we are paying for it. It's not a gift. It's not something the government is gonna give us. We are paying for it. You know, it's called the FICA tax, and it's 6.2% of our salaries goes to the trust funds, and then the employer adds another or matches that. So in at the end, it's 14.4%. Let's see, sorry, 12.4% when you count the employee employer. This is how it's funded. Let's go to question number 3, and it is, are you receiving your Social Security statements? Let's start with you, Sonia.
No, I'm not.
You've never seen one.
I've seen one, but there was a long time ago. I haven't seen any recently. I can say maybe about in the last maybe 10 years, I haven't seen one.
Okay. And that's because they change, right? It used to come every year. Now it comes every 5 years. And when you reach 60 is when they send it to you every year. Teresa, have you ever seen a Social Security statement?
No.
Okay,
Never.
I strongly recommend that you pay attention to that, because that's a statement is where it basically tells you how many years you've worked and the wages that you've made. If you don't, and there happens to be a discrepancy, then you won't catch it. So that's very, very important. Let's go to question number 4. Have you created your account at socialsecurity.gov, Teresa?
Yes, I have one.
You have?
Yeah.
Well, then you don't need the statement. Did
Oh,
you? Go ahead.
I mean, I was going to also ask that I went on there and I navigated and I seen a lot of paperwork. I honestly didn't read through it, but I did have access. I do have access to it.
That's awesome, because again, anytime you want to see your statement, you don't have to wait for it to be sent to you or mailed to you. You can always go using your login information, and you can see how many years you worked, the wages, and then the projected benefit that you would get at 62, at your full retirement age, at 70 years. And there's a calculator that you can also use to kind of figure out your projected benefit. Sonia, have you done your account yet?
No, I have not.
Perfect. Totally recommended. Actually, if you do this and Teresa, from my understanding, so she can even help you if you have any questions. But then once you do that, you don't even have to wait, and you don't have to, I think you can go paperless at that point where you don't have to expect it. So I strongly recommend that. Let's go to question number 5. Do you know family members or friends who receive Social Security, Sonia?
No, I do not. I don't have any family members yet that receive this,
Nor friends.
nor friends.
Got it. How about you, Teresa?
Yes.
You do. Perfect. All right. So let's go to the next questions. If the answer is yes, do you know if they have retirement income from other sources, excluding wages and gifts from family, for example, to supplement Social Security? Would you say that they are doing well or just making it? Teresa.
They're not, I know for a fact they're not receiving any other type of income, and they are just making it. If anything, they're actually having to get money from their children to help them support their needs. So they're below making it.
Right, and this is one of the reasons why our program, our outreach is so critical, because we really want to impress it upon people that we need to prepare. We need to understand how Social Security works. It was never meant to provide all the income that we will need in retirement. It was only meant to provide 1/3. So there needs to be that awareness, right? And let's see. So let's go to the next question. Now, let me just add to that 1 in every 4 households that receive Social Security, 1 in every 4 depend on Social Security for 90% of their income. 90. So basically, that's all they have. 1 in every 4. So that's why we desperately need to be informed as to how the Social Security works, and then retirement preparation, which we'll get to that in just a bit. We're almost halfway. I mean, this is question 7, so it goes pretty fast. I'm glad. Now, in terms of retirement planning, would you say family members, friends on Social Security did their best with what they had, or do you spot missed opportunities? Teresa, are you able to spot missed opportunities in the people that you know that you said that they're barely making it?
Yeah, yes and no. They did retire pretty young, and they were not able to work long enough to like receive a whole lot of retirement benefits from other companies, and they did not get to save money either. There's definitely a lot of like reasons why that is, but there's definitely always like missed opportunities that you could have, start like saved outside of just basically having that as the only cushion of income.
Right. Sonia, do you know anyone who works for an employer that offers, like, say, a 401k plan and that they decided not to take it, not to contribute?
Yes. Well, I talked them into doing it. At
Mm,
first, they didn't want to do it. At first, they were saying, "No, it's a waste of time, a waste of money." And I say, if your employer is offering it and they're gonna meet your match, I say do it. I
mm.
gave them that advice to do it.
Good. You gave them great advice. Definitely. Yeah, that's great. And this is what this is all about. The more educated we are, the better we understand these things, the more we can help others to basically take advantage of programs like that and prepare for retirement. When you're young, you don't think about retirement. You think it's way too far, right? But it comes. It gets here pretty fast. So it's better to know to have. I am very, I guess, happy and glad to know that my children, even the one who is still in college right now, knows a lot about these things. And it makes a big difference, even in selecting an employer. Sometimes it's better to select an employer that pays a little bit less with benefits than one which
Yeah.
pays more without benefits. And this is where knowledge comes in handy, when you know these things.
Mhm.
So, all right. So let's go, I believe, yeah, let's go to question number 8. And it says, assuming that you think about your own retirement, right? What part does Social Security play in your planning, Sonia? What part does Social Security play in your retirement preparation?
Well, I think I'm kind of like I started saving money, but I don't think I did it younger or I guess I didn't start it sooner than what I should have. So I might have some, but not a lot.
You mean some as in other than Social Security?
Other than Social Security, yes.
Okay. So you depend, at least as of now, you depend a lot on Social Security.
Yes, and I was, like I said, no, without knowledge, without anybody explaining it to me and anything like that. So, like I said, I think I started way too late saving my
Mm.
money to just not to depend on Social Security.
Right. And trust me, I also feel the same way. Like I started not because of my own choice, but circumstances. Sometimes, you don't have a choice. Sometimes you do. In my case, I didn't. And in other words, I didn't have options, and now after a certain point in my early 40s, that's when I began to have more options, and I definitely took advantage of them. Teresa, what would you say? What part of the Social Security play in your planning for retirement?
It used to not play such a big role because I was investing a lot, but I stopped recently because I'm paying off debt and I need all the money I can in my paycheck. So it's been now I feel like I'm very dependent of it, but I want to, get out of debt first and then focus on that. But I don't know, I have to definitely change that strategy.
And obviously, I don't want to get ahead of myself because some of the next questions are going to deal with that. So let's just go to the next ones. The question number 9: do you have other retirement funding sources in place other than Social Security, Sonia?
Yes, but it's not the greatest, but it's something.
Okay. Is this employer based or more on your own?
Employer base.
Good. 401k type of saving.
I believe it's a 401b. I'm
Okay.
not too sure.
But kind of like the same concept, I would
Hmm.
imagine. Okay. How about you, Teresa?
The same, employer based.
Now, had you had other or previous employers that also offer retirement benefits, or is this the first one that is offering them to you?
I used to have a 401k with Fidelity with my previous employer, and then I never touched that, and then I started here uh, with the different one, not Fidelity anymore.
And you obviously had to take some action as to the other one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And you don't have to tell us what you did. It's just that you need to. I guess it depends on whether the company can manage it still, or you have to move it somewhere else, etc. How about you, Sonia? Any funding sources other than Social Security?
No, like I said, just the 401(b). That's it that my employer had offered.
Yeah, well, that is important. I mean, now you're
Mhm.
talking about two checks coming to you in retirement, and that's how I view it. Two sources, two checks, right?
Mhm.
Okay, let's move on to question number 10. What other retirement funding sources are you aware of or have in place? Just anyone, I guess, start with you, Teresa. We already know that Social Security is one, the 401ks. Based on your universe, if you will, what are you aware of in terms of what other things that are in place or that you are aware of that potentially you might tap into?
Roths,
Okay.
Roth IRAs. That's usually all I hear. I know I've heard of like investing, but that's risky. But I've heard a lot about just getting a Roth IRA.
And you, Sonia?
I guess I'm an older than Teresa. We've been hearing maybe property, get some property and rent it out and hopefully just live off that. Maybe not even a rental property, maybe just invest in it, and when it's time to retire, maybe sell it and just live. You know, how do you say it? Collect the equity.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is great. This is a great conversation because you have now Social Security, traditional IRA, and then a Roth IRA. It's still an IRA, but one collects taxes first. I mean, when you invest, and that would be the Roth, you pay the taxes up front. Whereas a traditional, you don't, the taxes defer until you basically draw money from the IRA. It stands for Individual Retirement Account. So Social Security, 401ks, IRAs, and then real estate investment. So that is basically the most common one. So we are on the same kind of page. We are on the same page. I assume that there are people who have businesses, they own businesses, so they may have I guess a broader universe of options to think of. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to question number 11. Do you know the age at which you can start collecting Social Security benefits, Sonia?
I heard it's 62, but not your full benefits until 67.
Okay. How about you, Teresa?
I just all I think about is the number 65, but I don't think it's right.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, it's interesting because again, I basically speak about Social Security day in day out. Anybody can or people once they have worked 40 they have worked 10 years or earned 40 credits or quarters, which you do in 10 years, and they don't have to be consecutive. Then you wait for the age, and the earliest age you can collect Social Security is at 62. That's considered early retirement. And then you can then from there there's the concept of full retirement age. So if you collect Social Securities at your full retirement age, which can vary depending on the year that you were born, and I can already tell you that anybody who was born from 1960 and on, their full retirement age is 67. I'm on that boat.
Wow.
So
Wow.
if you want 100% of your benefits, one would have to solicit them or apply for them at 67. And then if you wait until 70, Social Security will add 8% per year that you delay. So you can actually get more if you delay it, but not anybody has the luxury to delay their retirement. So yeah. Okay. Let's cover the last, I think it's three more questions, and then we'll be done. There seems to be the concept that Social Security will not be there for younger generations. If familiar with this, what do you think, Teresa?
Well, I guess it's scary. That's kind of like what I can say for a lot of people, especially for myself, because it's something that you grew up thinking you would get, and then now to think it's no longer going to be available, or there will be less service available. It's a bit scary, daunting.
Do you believe it'll be there, or do you have your doubts?
I don't think it'll be there.
Oh, wow.
I know, just I mean, with everything going on, it's just like, I mean, you kind of expect that, but hopefully it is. But you kind of want to make sure that if case is not, to have other, savings or something lined up just in case it's not there.
How about you, Sonia? I'm sure you've heard that it will not be there. What is
Hmm.
your gut tell you? Is it gonna be there or not? What do you think?
I think it will be there, but I think it's gonna be cut. It's not gonna be 100% like it should be, or I don't think, you know, it's gonna be sad. There's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna miss out.
Mm,
I think.
mm. Okay, okay. Well, again, this is why this our outreach, our effort is so critical because we have a say in it. Trust me, we do. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. What messaging argument do you suggest could get younger generations interested on the Social Security topic, and what platforms would you say are the best to reach them? Let's start with you, Teresa.
Definitely social media
Hmm.
for sure. I think that's number one way. I think parents, especially like we listen to our parents all of the time, especially like if we get older. When we're younger, we tend not to listen so much, but as we get older, we do. But it's not topics that some parents discuss with us at an older age.
Mm.
I think if they're getting educated as well, they can educate the younger ones, like such as myself. Radio, not so much. I only listen to like NPR, and I don't really listen to the radio. TV, I haven't watched TV in a long time. We don't we probably have cable, but we watch like streaming, we stream videos. I
Hmm.
think social media is the number one way for sure.
Good, good. How about you, Sonia?
I agree with Teresa. I think social media with the generation nowadays, it's you know they just have a different way of expressing themselves now than younger generation, and um, I think just knowledge, letting other people know that hey, you don't want to if this you don't want this to happen to you, you need to start thinking of your future so it could be
Mm.
better.
So the messaging, not so much a positive one, but also including like what you just said, like almost like a warning, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
This is what happened to your tia or your abuelo. They didn't prepare, and this is what happened. Kind of like, am I getting this right? Like using examples maybe of your own family that what would be repercussions if we don't prepare, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think
definitely.
so.
Okay, okay. All right, so social media, uh, parents play an important role. Now, in the past shows, I heard from people that said that maybe the employers should also have some kind of a educational, I guess, sessions from time to time. Do you tend to agree that that could help as well?
Yes, definitely. I know we do have someone come in when it's time to re-enroll for like our retirement
Mm,
benefits, just kind of to explain. But
okay.
directing Social Security that we are all going to eventually be eligible for, I've never had any employer talk to me about until like now that I'm listening to
Hmm.
you and learning all this great information from you. It's like when I'm realizing like how much lacking knowledge I actually have like to this day when I thought I knew a little bit,
Hmm.
3 out of 10.
Right, right, right. Anything to add on that, Sonia?
I just think sometimes employers are maybe don't want to push it to put their money in this better.
Mm,
They just want you to do Social Security, and you know what? And I think I heard a rumor one time saying that they wanted to do away with Social Security because they wanted people to invest their money more into these private like funds so you can get better options. But I think it's more of a risk because they play more in the stock market and stuff like that. So I
You
don't know. It has their ups and their downs.
You are referring to President George Bush, who in his
Mm-hmm.
presidency, they were trying to push privatization of Social Security. And
Mm-hmm.
ARP definitely opposed that because of the very reason that you just mentioned. There's less control in the market. And imagine, the market goes south and then there goes our retirement money. So that's great information. Let's see. Let's go to the last question, and it is: assuming you believe it is worth advocating for Social Security so that the program is secure and solvent for future generations, would you be willing to join our effort? And that would be a very direct question, and I hope you do. And actually, I'm not even. It's probably going to be more of a how do you call it? Rhetoric question, where you don't necessarily have to answer. But I really would like you to invite you to join our effort, and the way to do it, and this is basically the next slide. We are asking you and everyone watching this video to really join this conversation, this debate. We are working hard to our goals, our objectives, to contribute to a better understanding of Social Security, to protect those most in need, most reliant on Social Security, and who would have trouble postponing retirement. And we would like to achieve Social Security's long-term security and solvency. So Teresa and Sonia, I invite you personally to join the Facebook group. It's called Social Security. Will it be there for me? And not only that, but I just sent out an email, and I'm going to send it to you. We have done a survey, which is basically very similar to these questions that we cover in this show. So I want to thank you again, Teresa, Sonia, for making time and for sharing your input and your points of view regarding this. I really hope you stay engaged in the program. Any comments that you would like to add, Sonia, about your participation in this conversation?
No, it's very I like it because sometimes this education or this knowledge you don't hear it just from anybody. And sometimes, like I said, some people hold it. They don't want to leak it out, or when they should tell everybody, hey, you should think about your future. You should think about it.
Thank you, and please, I'll send you that link to the survey via email. Teresa, any final thoughts before we conclude?
Just thank you so much. The way you teach things make it so much easier to understand because I could have read this online and I could have been so bored, but you like talking about it and sharing information that we will need. It makes it stick more, and it makes me realize how much more information I need to go out and learn and educate my family and educate everyone that I love and care for and all the people in my community that want to learn about this. So it's thank you so much for making it easy to connect. Thank
My
you.
pleasure, Sonia and Teresa. Thank you so much. This concludes our program. I'm going to close the show. If you can stay put just for a second, and I'll be back with you. Again, I am just basically asking you to join the group, and we will be doing the survey and more to come. And then at some point, we're gonna be ready to reach out to our representatives and senators for this, because this is not going to go away. Thanks again. This concludes our program. See you next time.